Hey, can I get a, vent? This is the journey for everything we've ever believed in. We're off to a bit of a rough start today. It seems that this morning, before we left the compound, somebody took it upon themselves to drink the last Crystal Pepsi. I know we're at Target, they don't have Crystal Pepsi! Anyway, we still have a mission to accomplish. We are here at the evil corporate headquarters to gather the essential supplies for Mission SCC. Sadly, we don't have the time to explain what that is, but if we get out of this thing alive, the good people of the world will benefit. Let's get our disguises on before somebody spots us. Don't worry, I'm not a vlogger. I'm just your average, run-of-the-mill Mega Man. Okay, so you're a Pikachu heading into enemy territory disguised as a Charizard.
Pika-Pee.
What do I pay you for? Honestly, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're back at the compound. You guys gonna sit here and play Smash for a bit? That's your last snack before dinner, so no complaining. Okay, so now that we have a moment to ourselves, allow me to explain what Mission SCC is. It's Halloween season, kids. This is one of my absolute favorite times of year. I love candy, I like spooky stuff, I like cute, pointless, stupid stuff, I get to watch all of my favorite horror movies, I just freaking love Halloween. This is my time of year. But as an adult, and especially as a parent, Halloween can be a little stressful, a little tiring. You have to deal with everyday life, your job and your personal needs and family needs and all that BS. If you're an adult who still does a costume for Halloween, you gotta find the money, you gotta find the time, especially if you're making a great costume. And shout out to all you cosplayers and costume folks if you still have that energy inside you. And of course, if you have kids, it's a whole other ballgame. So one of the things I like to engage in as an adult on Halloween is what I call Mission SCC. SCC stands for Spooky Self-Care. And it's basically just whatever you need to do as an adult on Halloween to have fun with the holiday and the season in a way that's sort of personally therapeutic, if you will. So what I like to do for spooky self-care is to get my own candy bucket with only the candy that I love. Of course, as a kid, trick-or-treating was a blast. But no matter how much candy you got on Halloween, you had to deal with a whole bucket's worth of candy you loved and candy you hated. But what's great about this now is I get to have my candy bucket, the pink one that I like, and the stuff I love, like frickin', I mean, come on. This is everyone's favorite, right? But personally, I also love some crunchy peanut butter, so that's where Butterfinger comes in. Now, this next one is not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay because it's my candy bucket, so you know, suck it. But I love me some of these. The combination of chocolate and peanut butter and the combination of dark chocolate and coconut, those are on the same level of greatness for me. And these, dear viewers, these are my kryptonite. They're just so good. And I say, for spooky self-care, if you're doing your own ultimate candy bucket, don't just limit it to candy. I mean, check this out. We got some cool Nintendo eShop currency with our girl Peach. Shout out. We got fun toys and glow sticks and stuff down here. I mean, it's Halloween. It's spooky self-care. Let's go nuts. You see this? You see this genuine grin? That's the point. That's the point of spooky self-care. I'm in my happy place. So for all of you watching out there, whatever your spooky self-care is this Halloween season, whether it's all of this, some of this, or none of this, I encourage you to discover and embrace whatever your spooky self-care is. And spooky self-care doesn't just have to make you smile. It doesn't just have to bring down your stress level or make you feel better in the moment. I genuinely believe that spooky self-care can also help you cleanse some bigger problems you might have with Halloween. Even bad Halloween memories or traumatic experiences that you might have. So, that being said, as I build my own little candy bucket here, I would like to tell a story about the worst Halloween I ever had. Now, before we get into this, I feel like I have to make a disclaimer. The fun part of the video is kind of over. This is a very serious and troublesome story. So if you're here for the fun, go do your own spooky self-care, have a great Halloween, and we'll see you next time. So the worst Halloween I ever had was in middle school. I was a nerdy kid, and proudly so. I was a genuine misfit, and I was very proud of that. And I was friends with the small collection of nerdy kids. As you can imagine, my friends and I were always targets for bullies. And it's middle school, so there's, typical bullies everywhere. Not to say that that's okay, but it's the typical dickhead middle school kids. It's mostly just verbal insults and stuff like that. Maybe there was some shoving. Every once in a while a fight would break out. Still not okay, but pretty standard stuff for middle school. And then one day, randomly in the middle of the school year, this new kid randomly showed up. We'll call him James. James was physically a small guy, not what you would call muscular or anything like that. But here's the thing about James, and I don't say this lightly. He was a genuine walking nightmare. Calling him a bully would be putting it very lightly. From the first day he showed up on campus in the middle of that school year, he was just looking for a fight from everyone. So he was always walking up to people and just trying to get in their face, and he would shove them and things like that. And I'm not kidding. Every time he shoved you, which was almost always, his shoves were so hard and so fast that you would get whiplash every time. And if you reacted in any way, you were in a literal fight to the death with him. Every single thing that he did, verbally and physically, was as vicious and violent as you've ever seen in a middle schooler. He was the only bully I've ever experienced in my life where I thought, he's gonna kill someone. So the presence of a genuinely vicious beast of a kid like this, it seemed both unheard of and absolutely terrifying for every other kid on campus. So the Halloween story, I think we were in 7th grade at the time, and James would have been high school age at that point. So as always on Halloween, I was out trick-or-treating with my nerdy friends. It was the first Halloween where my parents were divorced. So we had gone trick-or-treating in my mom's neighborhood, which we were very familiar with. And then later in the evening, we went trick-or-treating at my dad's apartment complex, which we were not very familiar with. So we were trick-or-treating around my dad's neighborhood for the first time ever in our lives. And immediately we could tell that the energy was different. There weren't many kids trick-or-treating, which should have been a telltale sign. But we're going around the apartment complex. We started to notice something very strange. Every once in a while, we would see little heads in the bushes sort of pop up. Some kids were hiding and spying on us for some weird reason. So we take notice of this, and we decide to go to one last apartment for candy, and then we'll go back to my dad's apartment. So we get to this last apartment door, no answer. And then we turn around, and suddenly we are face to face and cornered by James. And he walks right up to me and says, "Hey, can we have your candy?" As a 12-year-old, I wasn't sure how to react in that moment, so I said no. We basically tell him to fuck off and try to leave, and then he pushes me back, not letting us leave. I know now that what I did next was wrong, but honestly, it was kind of a panic move. That whole night of trick-or-treating, we also had some stink bombs. If you don't know what a stink bomb is, they were these little glass vials, and they were full of this yellow liquid. They smelled like the worst rotten smell ever. If you got it on you, it was really hard to wash off. So when James wouldn't let us leave, I took out a stink bomb and threw it on the ground, and it shattered all over his shoes. And of course, he's pissed off at this point. So while he was distracted by the stink, me and my two friends tried to run, and that's when all of James's friends showed up and surrounded us. Now, I want to be absolutely clear about this. My friends and I were 3 12-year-olds. James and his friends were a group of at least 7 or 8, and they were high school kids, probably old enough to drive. So it didn't matter whether the 3 of us could hold up in a fight or not. This was not a fight. This was a beating. In retrospect, maybe the stink bomb was a good move in an unexpected way, because clearly James and the entire group targeted me and not my friends. To be honest, I don't have a very clear memory of what happened next. All I know is that they descended on me. I was punched at least 3 times, and as hard as they could punch me, by at least 2 of them, if not more. And honestly, I kind of blacked out in the moment because I was trying to defend myself as I was being pummeled by high school kids. I'm getting punched in the face on both sides, and the back of my head is hitting the cement wall. And somehow in this moment, I managed to get back on my feet and get through the crowd. I try to just run as fast as I can. And then one of them came up behind me, grabbed the back of my costume, and ripped my candy bag out of my hand. And then they all just ran off. So I'm sitting on the cement, my whole head is just throbbing and on fire. It just hurts so bad. And my friends who were untouched, and I don't blame them, they couldn't do anything. What are they gonna do as kids? Just fight these high schoolers? Fuck no. But my friends came over, they helped me stand up. I'm in tears, of course, because fuck man, this just happened to me. And, you know, we went back to my dad's apartment. The candy thing didn't really matter because my 2 friends had these giant pillowcases full of candy from like 2 or 3 different neighborhoods. So being the good friends that they were and are, they pulled all their candy, split it 3 ways, and that was fine. My dad was very upset, of course. And luckily, I knew James's real full name. So my dad called the police and we made a police report and all that. I'm not sure if it did anything. Who knows? And then after that, you know, I was fine. But it was the first bullying incident that I'd ever experienced that really stuck with me. For a while after it happened, it was hard to get over. I talked to my parents about it. I probably should have talked to a therapist about it too. And I sort of forgot about it for many, many years until I became a parent. It all just came bubbling back up for me. What if something like that happened to one of my kids? How can I protect them from something like that? I guess it's something every kid deals with, every parent deals with. And honestly, telling the story to you all right now has been some amazing self-care. It feels so good to get this out there. So whatever your spooky self-care ends up being for you, and whether you use it as just a stress reliever or to deal with much worse shit, I hope you find your own unique solution. Just as a quick aside, one of the 2 friends I was with that Halloween night, as an adult, he became a prison guard for the local jail system. And this was several years ago, but one day I was visiting with him and he told me, "Hey, do you remember that kid named James who beat you up and stole your candy on Halloween?" And I said, "Yeah." And he looks at me and he says, "James is one of the inmates in my cell block that I look after." I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel bad about it either, but it just didn't surprise me. So that's pretty much the story. All right, you ready? Get your costume on. Let's go. Check him out. He's dressed as a taco. So the last thing I'd like to say here is, James, if by some crazy reason you're watching this video, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you found the happiness in life that this kind of thing brings to me. Because I would never want you to have to feel the way you made me feel that night. So if you've watched this point in the video, find your spooky self-care. Happy Halloween. Like, share, subscribe if you like. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.